Flip phones, Babylons can't crack the code.
What do YouTube? B Kelly back again with another banger video. And today's video, y'all, I am going to be talking about players who I think will break out in the 2022 college football season. Now, just a quick disclaimer. This isn't going to be able to cover every player that's going to be breaking out in the 2022 season, as this is only an opinionated video and just who I think is going to break out, and it's not even covering everyone who I think is going to break out, as that video would be about 50 minutes long. Instead, I'm going to be talking about some, and if you want to see more videos like this in the future, drop something down in the comment section below. Before I move on with the video, remember to smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already, as we are on the road to 10K. Now let's get into it. The first player that I have in today's video is quarterback at USC, Caleb Williams. Now this one is kind of a no-brainer. In 2021, Caleb Williams showed a lot of potential for the future and had a lot of hype once he took over the starting job from Spencer Rattler, as he really broke out on the scene in the huge comeback win for Oklahoma versus Texas. In the 2021 campaign, Caleb Williams, in 11 games played, completed 64.5% of his passes, threw for 1,912 yards, 21 touchdowns through the air, 4 interceptions, while rushing for 442 yards, averaging almost 6 yards per carry, and 6 total touchdowns on the ground. Knowing that Caleb Williams already has a season under his belt, he knows the Lincoln Riley offense, Lincoln Riley being an offensive-minded guy and a quarterback guru. All the signs point at Caleb Williams balling out in 2022 for USC. I think he's going to have a great season and really break out on the scene even more and get even more hype on his name. And I think a big part of this will be because he is in the Pac-12. That's no shot at the Pac-12, but I feel like the Pac-12 as a conference has been down lately, and really feel like that Caleb Williams is just going to be the best he can be against a bunch of those teams. On to the next player that I think will break out in 2022. It's yet again another quarterback. This time it's Jaxson Dart, Ole Miss quarterback. Now in 2021, he played with USC, and he appeared in 6 games where he showed a lot of potential as he completed 62% of his passes, threw for 1,353 yards, 9 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions, with 2 total touchdowns on the ground. Jaxson Dart is someone I see thriving at Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin is an offensive-minded coach, and they have a high-flying, extremely fast offense at Ole Miss. And this is Jaxson Dart, who has a lot of intangibles that can really push him to be the next great quarterback in college football. And he's already seen as one of the best heading into the season with the hype he's receiving. And he's going to have weapons around him. And they're going to have a pretty good squad there at Ole Miss, as they just landed the best transfer portal class this year. With the next player that I think is going to break out in 2022, it's wide receiver at Alabama, Jermaine Burton. Burton is a Georgia transfer, and he had a solid career at Georgia, as in 2 seasons there, he had 53 receptions for 901 yards, averaging 17 yards per reception, and 8 total touchdowns to the air. He was solid in 2021 in 12 games played, with 26 receptions for nearly 500 yards, averaging 19 yards per reception, and 5 total touchdowns through the air. He's joining an Alabama team that is losing a lot of experience at the receiver position that can really have him primed for his best season yet. Also, with the fact that he's going to have the best quarterback in college football and the 2021 Heisman winner in Bryce Young throwing the ball to him, all things point in a Jermaine Burton breakout season. If he's healthy, I really don't see how Jermaine Burton doesn't break out at Alabama, as that receiving room, it's going to be good, as there's a lot of talented people on that roster. As you know, Alabama doesn't rebuild, they only reload. But Jermaine Burton's going to be one of the more experienced guys in that receiving room, so I'm expecting him to just take a huge leap in his game, being with Alabama and being with Bryce Young in general. Sticking with the receiver position, the next player I have breaking out in 2022 is wide receiver from Oklahoma, Theo Weiss. Now, Theo Weiss has had an interesting career at Oklahoma, as in his freshman year he came off as a 5-star in high school, but he had a limited role in that offense because of the receiving room that was present and the people ahead of him. But he still had solid numbers as a freshman in 6 games played, with 8 receptions for 136 yards and 2 touchdowns. In 2020, the last season he's played in, he kind of did break out a little bit as he had 530 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns through the air. He was expected to be a big part of the Sooners offense in 2021, but due to an injury he sustained going into the season, he pretty much missed the entire year and didn't record any stats. 2022 is going to be a fresh start for Theo Wease yet again from his injury, and there's a lot of word going around town that this guy is going to break out. Now, obviously, it's going to be depending on his health, but they do have Jeff Lebby as their offensive coordinator, their offensive mind, and Dylan Gabriel at quarterback, who knows Lebby's offense. And Theo Wease is going to be a big part of that Sooners offense in 2022, and I'm expecting big things from him and a breakout season. Switching over to the defensive side of the ball, we have defensive lineman from Miami, Leonard Taylor. Now, Leonard Taylor was a true freshman in 2021, coming off of being one of the most highly touted recruits in the 2021 recruiting class. Now, as a true freshman, he didn't play in the first few games, but he would break out on the scene for Miami, and he played very well as a true freshman, having 21 total tackles, 8.5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, and even 1 pass deflection. Taylor is expected to have a much bigger role on this new Miami team in 2022, and to be one of the main people on that defensive line, and expect to hear his name a lot in 2022. On to the final player that I will be talking about in today's video. It is receiver from Texas Tech, Myles Price. Now, Myles Price can also run the ball as well. In his career at Texas Tech, the 2 seasons he's been there, he has 64 receptions for 806 yards, 3 touchdowns, 26 rushing attempts for 207 yards, and 2 total touchdowns on the ground. He is coming off an underrated 2021 campaign in which he had 36 receptions for 506 yards, 14 yards per reception, and 2 touchdowns through the air, and 1 touchdown on the ground. A big reason why I think Myles is going to break out in 2022 is that Texas Tech does not have Eric Ezukanma anymore, and someone's going to have to step up and be that lead target for the Red Raiders, and I think it's going to be Myles Price. Not only that, but their new offensive coordinator from Western Kentucky, Zach Kittley, is an offensive-minded genius, and he likes to air the ball out. At Western Kentucky in 2021, they had 2 receivers with 1,000-plus receiving yards on the season, and 4 receivers who had over 500 receiving yards on the season. Well, guys, if you've made it this far in the video, drop something down in the comments section below if you want to see a part 2 of this video, or even a series where I talk about every FBS team in college football, every conference, and pick out one player from each school and say who I think is going to break out in 2022. Before you leave, however, remember to smash that like button, turn on those post notifications, and subscribe if you haven't already. Be Kelly out.